from Nigeria, across Africa, and around the world. This is Smart Madu Ajaja, the anchor of Nigeria Now and Matters Arising on ONN, and the convener of Open Nigeria and Africa Unite. Great day here, bright sunny day. 10:54 a.m. Central Standard Time from Houston, 11:54 a.m. Eastern Standard, 8:54 a.m. Pacific. Yes, and 4:54 p.m. in Nigeria. Assuming this is a good time to deliver this message. It is about the state of insecurity in Nigeria. Nigerians don't understand the level of insecurity in their country, even with the massive kidnapping and wanton waste of human lives across the country. It is scary what is taking place. The entire security architecture of Nigeria has been compromised. Yes, I am saying the entire national security architecture of Nigeria has been compromised. That is why violent elements driven by some warped ideologies are able to go into elementary schools, go to public places, even go to people's homes to abduct them, and nobody is arrested, nobody is prosecuted. That is why our farmers are no longer able to go to their farms. A lot of farmers have been murdered in their farmlands. A lot of them are made to pay taxes. Yes, taxation to rogues inside Nigeria. And every time they commit their mayhem, you see the military operatives, their security chiefs, we go and make the usual tough statements, and they leave, waiting for the next one to happen. That has been the story of Nigeria. So if you are joining us right now for the first time, please subscribe to our channel, share this very important message with every Nigerian that you know, and with every person that you know, to help us expand this message, expand our mission, and to bring awareness to the world what is taking place in Nigeria. That the mainstream media in Nigeria, for some strange reasons, is not able to report, because their owners, their drivers, are part of what is hurting the country. So please do us a favor as you join this stream, share this message, comment, and love, like, and do whatever you can. Support our cause. Our cause is genuine, is driven purely by patriotic instinct, not driven by politics. We're not interested in politics. We are interested in the national security of Nigeria. We are interested in progress and prosperity of Nigeria. We want every Nigerian to be safe and secure wherever they are. We want Nigerians to understand that they have basic human rights: the right to life, the right to choice, the right to freedom of expression, right to worship, and the right to self-determination. Yes, the right to worship and the right to self-determination are basic human rights. And I reiterate, I want Nigerians to understand they have rights. Rights to freedom of expression, the right to their life, the right to choice, the right to worship, freedom of expression, the right to self-determination. These are all basic human rights that citizens of every country should enjoy. But sadly, we don't enjoy it in Nigeria. Yes, rogues run ramshackle in Nigeria, and nobody does anything. We live in a country, we are from a country where bandits, terrorists will come, bring a bus, take away school children into the forests from where they demand for ransom, from parents who can barely eat. Yes. And it will be interesting to know, to make you know that everything has come crashing in Nigeria. The economy is crashing, educational system crumbled, healthcare delivery system rubbished, infrastructure zero, power generation and power distribution capacity destroyed, nothing. And I submit here with audacity to say that Nigeria is a failed state. I watch with pains and anguish the statement released by the vice president, the rogue vice president of Nigeria, at the gathering of the United Nations. Yes, 80 years after. Yes, and for that, I made a broadcast on Africa at the UN 80 years after. Yes, I felt sad hearing him demand with audacity on behalf of Nigeria a permanent national security seat. How is he doing that? They have not been able to fix home. How? Nigeria in disarray. How? Nigeria that is no longer a country. Yes, Nigeria that has become hell. He came with that audacity. Everything he said, everything in his speech was a lie. Maybe perhaps for the sake of this broadcast, I'm going to have to release that statement so the world can hear the fraud that Nigeria represents, the fraud that nobody should accept. This is crazy and unacceptable. So I'm going to get that speech of Kashim Shettima, yes, at the United Nations building, United Nations General Assembly. His speech, yes. Let me. Nigeria at the UN. Nigeria at the UN. So you listen. If you did not have the opportunity of listening to it a couple of days ago when I played it, you listen to the joke that Nigeria has become. What a ridicule at the moment. And for the United Nations to allow a man in whose house those who bombed and killed people at the United Nations building in Abuja in 2011, for them to allow him to stand on a global podium. Yes, United Nations. Yes, United Nations to speak. That tells a lot about the state of the United Nations. That the United Nations has become such a ridicule. Yes, like just described by President Donald Trump of the United States. The United Nations is a total disaster for allowing a criminal to stand on its podium to address the world. And he even talked about terrorism and how they are combating terrorism. Whereas he is a mastermind of terrorism, actually the founder of Boko Haram. Yes, he was responsible. Yeah, one of the masterminds of terrorism in Nigeria. That is how terrible this world, United Nations, has gotten. Before I continue, let me bring that story to you. Sad. Okay, Kashim Shettima speaks at the UN. Just bear with me, please. Yes. All right. Okay, you ready? So listen to this criminal. This criminal, Kashim Shettima, paid as vice president to a drug dealer and a certificate forger who was prosecuted here, found guilty, and then paid restitution.
The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Kashim Shettima, Vice President of the
the man responsible mostly for the insecurity in Nigeria.
Protocol to escort His Excellency and invite him to address the Assembly.
Hear him. Insecurity in Nigeria is second to none on earth.
Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished delegates. The chaos that shadows our world is a reminder that we cannot afford the luxury of inaction. We have been consumed by our differences. Had there been no community such as this to remind us that we are one human family. Even in our darkest hours, we have refused to be broken. This community was born from the ashes of despair, a vehicle for order, and for the shared assurance that we could not afford to falter again. Our belief in this community is not a posture of moral superiority.
That's the rogue Vice President of Nigeria speaking. Hey, Peter, how are you?
With profound humility that I stand before you.
Thank you for joining.
As Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
rogue Vice President of Nigeria,
to renew this pledge on behalf of my country. Madam President, Nigeria joins the Committee of Nations in congratulating you on your election as the President of the General Assembly for the 80th session, and I assure you of our unalloyed support during your tenure. I commend your predecessor, my brother, His Excellency Philemon Yang, and the Secretary General, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, for their outstanding stewardship and unifying leadership during these extraordinary times. This anniversary will not be a sentimental retreat into nostalgia. It must be a moment of truth. A pause to measure where we have stumbled and how we might have done better in turning our values into action that meets the demands of today. We are here.
United Nations say huge disappointment. It should be disbanded.
For human rights is paramount. We must recalibrate the delicate balance between our roles as sovereign governments and our duties as collective partners to renew multilateralism in a world that has evolved far beyond what it was in 1945. The face of change across borders is a force without pause. It manifests in the tools of technology, in the movements of information and finance, in the corrosive ideologies that preach violence and division, in the gathering storm of the climate emergency, and in the tide of irregular migration. We must own this process of change. When we speak of nuclear disarmament, the proliferation of small weapons, Security Council reform,
you import weapons to destroy Nigerians,
and the conflicts and human suffering across the world, we must recognize the truth. These are stains on our collective humanity.
a big stain on you.
For all our careful diplomatic language, the slow pace of progress on these hardy perennials of the UN General Assembly debate has led
Hey, Monday, how are you?
away from the
Thank you for joining.
Some years ago, I noticed a shift at this gathering. Key events were beginning to take place outside this hall, and the most sought-after voices were no longer heads of state. These are indeed troubling times. Nigeria remains firmly convinced of the merits of multilateralism. But to sustain that conviction, we must show that existing structures are not set in stone.
Please share this live stream. Like.
And change that is seen to work.
Yes.
If we fail, the direction of travel is already predicted.
Nigeria is a failed
We are
state.
here to strengthen the prospects for peace, development, and human rights.
The peace you're not giving to
I want to make
Nigerians.
4 points today to outline how we can do this. 1. Nigeria must have a permanent seat as UN Security
Permanent seat, excuse me. Nigeria have permanent seat. On what ground? On what ground? That is leading Africa the right way?
As part of a wider process of institutional reform. 2. We need urgent action to promote sovereign debt relief and access to trade and
After you
finance.
mismanage the economy, you want debt forgiveness. You are crazy.
Those minerals must benefit from those minerals.
Mm.
And fourth, the digital divide must close. As our President Secretary General has said, AI must stand for Africa included. On my first point, the United Nations will recover its relevance only when it reflects the world as it is, not as it was. Nigeria's journey tells this story with clarity. When the UN was founded, we were a colony of 20 million people. Absent from the tables where decisions about our fate were taken. Today, we are a sovereign nation of 236 million people.
Where did you do the census? Can you count? Nigeria cannot count.
With one of the youngest and most dynamic populations on earth. A stabilizing force in regional security and a consistent partner in global peacemaking. Our case for permanent seat at the Security Council.
Nigeria has no right to seek for permanent peace, not under you, a terrorist and a drug dealer. Yeah, when a sane person comes, is somebody who stands on a moral high ground, yeah, we can seek and get the permanent seat.
Behind the UN 18 initiative of the UN Secretary General and the resolution adopted by this Assembly on 18th July 2025. A bold step to reform the wider United Nations.
Abdurrahman, how are you? Thank you for joining.
Efficiency and effectiveness in the face of unprecedented financial strain. We support the drive to rationalize structures.
Nigeria is the most insecure country on earth now.
So yes. That this institution may speak with one voice and act with greater coherence. Madam President, Africa, none of us in this world can function peacefully in isolation. This is the heavy burden of sovereignty. Sovereignty is a covenant of shared responsibility, a recognition that our survival is bound to the survival of others. To live up to this charge, we must work hand in hand with our neighbors and partners. We must follow the trails of weapons, of money, and of people. For these all forces, too often driven by faceless non-state actors, ignite the fires of conflict.
You, a representative of that non-state actor, you founded Boko Haram. You started it. You have no right to stand here to speak about insecurity.
We have stood with our partners in Africa to resolve conflicts, and we continue that commitment today through the multinational joint task force. At home, we confront this scourge of insurgency we resolve.
No, you're not. No, you're not. How many people have been brought to justice for all the mayhem that they are carrying out in Nigeria? Seriously?
But in wars that span generations, it is values and ideas that deliver the ultimate victory. We are despised by terrorists because we choose tolerance over tyranny.
And then he's a terrorist speaking. What a crazy world we live in right now. A terrorist.
Our difference is the distance
wow.
between shadow and light, between despair and hope, between the ruin of anarchy and the promise of order. We do not only fight wars, we pit and shelter the innocent victims of war. This is why we are not indifferent to the devastations of our neighbors near and distant. This is why we speak of the violence and aggression visited upon innocent civilians in Gaza.
All right, stop right there. Stop right there. I wish he did not come here. This man, I am very much against what is happening in Gaza because I stand on integrity and strong moral fabric to make that demand. But this man, Kashim Shettima, the rogue vice president of Nigeria, is one of those who created the monster, the terrorist monster called Boko Haram in Nigeria. He was a state governor of Borno State. He is one of the originators of Boko Haram. Boko Haram, with their support, he's doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing to the people of Nigeria. The same thing he's now talking about that is happening in Gaza. Nigeria is unofficially at war. But I tell you, statistically, that the number of people dying from this type of violence with ties to terrorism is far more than the number of people dying in Gaza. But the world is not speaking about that. The mainstream media of the world turned its face away from Nigeria, from what is happening. This man has no right, no moral ground to stand on to condemn what is taking place in Gaza, when he is in fact responsible and still funding through third parties the same thing, the same mayhem. People are being beheaded every day. People are prevented from going to their farms. Women are being raped. People are being abducted with reckless abandon. Terrorists and mercenaries have taken over forests across Nigeria. And he's here. Now, where is CNN? Where is ABC? Now, where is the other mainstream media in the world? Where is the BBC? Nobody says anything about what is taking place in Nigeria. He's here talking about Gaza. Nigeria is far worse than Gaza. What is taking place in Nigeria is far worse than what is happening in Gaza. Yes, the people are crippled. And the armed forces of Nigeria, the entire security forces of Nigeria, work for the Boko Haram terrorists. They work hand in hand. Yes, they work in tandem to repress the people. As we speak, most Nigerian voices of dissent are either in hiding or silenced or have been coerced so that they cannot speak up for the world to see. As I speak right now, yes, I live in the United States. I can't go to Nigeria right now. I am number 5. Number 5 on the list. Yes, number 5 on the list. Enemy of this evil terrorist government, yes, in Nigeria. Yes, so he is standing here. He is standing here to condemn what is taking place in Gaza. Yes, that I condemn it day and night. I detest Benjamin Netanyahu for what he's doing. Yes, I detest that he's turning the heat on young, innocent, and defenseless children in Gaza. Yes, but not Kashim Shettima. Not Kashim Shettima. I detest what Hamas is doing to soft targets. Yes, soft targets. Yes, innocent people. Yes, but I detest Benjamin Netanyahu. But this man, Kashim Shettima, has no moral high ground to stand on to make any such statement. He cannot, because he's doing a similar thing in Nigeria. Yes, they from the north, they call themselves Northerners. All right? Yes, the oppressors in the north, in Nigeria, call themselves Northerners. Yes, they rob Nigeria in the name of the north. They make Nigeria most unsafe and insecure in the name of the north. But the mass of the people in the north that contributes over 90% of the poor people in Nigeria, they are not taken care of. They abandon them. They use them as weapons against Nigeria. They use them to blackmail and intimidate Nigeria. They silence the people. They seize the language of the most populous ethnic group in that region, the Hausa people. These people are non-Hausa. They use Hausa language to mislead the people of Nigeria. And then they commit mayhem in the name of the Hausa people. And I'm happy the Hausa people are now beginning to wake up, to rise up, to distance themselves from the evil that these people represent. Now, let us continue this.
And the tensions that scar the wider region. It is not only because of the culture of impunity that makes such acts intolerable, but because our own bitter experience has taught us that such violence never ends where it begins. We do not believe that the sanctity of human life should be trapped in the corridors of endless debate. That is why we say, without stuttering and without doubt, that a two-state solution remains the most dignified path to lasting peace for the people of Palestine. For too long, this community has borne the weight of moral conflict. For too long, we have been caught in the crossfire of violence that opens the point.
Physician, heal thyself.
We come not as partisans.
Physician, heal
but as
thyself.
peacemakers.
I wish Nigeria was so peaceful, secure. Then I'll be hailing you as you are making this statement. You are crazy. Yes.
The people of Palestine are not collateral damage in a civilization searching for order. They are human beings.
Absolutely.
Equal in war.
But you are doing worse. You are making Nigerians go through worse things than the Palestinians are going through.
Want to make the choice crystal clear. Civilized values over fear.
Look at the face of the monster, the terrorist. He's making this speech. Look at him.
Values over bloodshed. We show the opportunities that peace brings. Just as the extremists hope to drive apart rival communities and different religions. We work through multilateral platforms within the rule of law. To build
Rule of law.
and support.
Rule of law, and I cannot go home. Yes. Rule of law, and I cannot express myself in Nigeria.
Yeah. It is our experience that this offers the best, perhaps only hope for peace, reconciliation, and victory for the civilized values of a shared humanity. Nigeria is a diverse country, also recognizes the variable geometry of democracy in different forms and spheres.
Democracy.
For this reason,
Nigerian democracy.
The United Nations to strengthen democratic institutions in our region and beyond through the Regional Partnership for Democracy. Madam President, point 2. The price of peace is eternal vigilance. The increasingly difficult security outlook has prompted many member states to count the cost of the emerging world order. We in Nigeria are already familiar with so difficult choices. Infrastructure renewal or defense platforms, schools or tanks. Our view is that the path to sustainable peace lies in growth and prosperity. The government has taken difficult but necessary steps to restructure our economy and remove distortions.
Restructure the economy of Nigeria. Wow. That's interesting.
I believe in the power of the market to transform. Our task is to enable and facilitate and to trust in the ingenuity and enterprise of the people. But the process of transition is difficult and brings unavoidable hardship. This year, we held the inaugural West African Economic Summit in Abuja to bring investors and opportunities together. The results far exceeded our expectations and are a clear indication of what innovation can deliver. It is in that same spirit of dynamic review that I invite the United Nations to re-examine the best use of scarce resources. One critical area is climate change. It is not an abstract issue about an indeterminate fate to be settled at some distant point in the future. It is not even solely an environmental issue. It is about national, regional, and international security. It is about irregular migration. Truly, this is an everyone issue. We are all stakeholders and we are all beneficiaries of the best outcomes. Madam President, this is why relevant ministers have been instructed to work with the UN to make the best use of climate funds. We believe there are huge shared dividends to accrue from increased support for education, for resilient housing, for access to technology and financing to allow vulnerable communities to thrive, to become part of solutions rather than problems. Nigeria and Africa have made significant strides in recent years to put our affairs in order. We can take that progress to the next level, a level that presents new opportunities for trade, investment, and profit. If we can assess reforms to strengthen the international financial architecture, we need urgent action to promote debt relief, not as an act of charity, but as a clear path
arising from the mismanagement of Nigeria's economy. You are calling for debt relief.
Mechanism to manage sovereign debt, a sort of international court of justice for money that will allow emerging economies to escape the economic straitjacket of primary production of unprocessed exports. It has been over 4 decades since the Lagos Plan of Action outlined a route away from debt and dependence that highlighted opportunities that today should still be explored for local added value, for processing and manufacturing in everything from agriculture to solid minerals and petrochemicals. The African Continental Free Trade Area It's a remarkable achievement of cooperation. We remain fully committed to the achievement of the SDGs and are convinced that this can be best delivered by focusing principally on our primary mission of growth and prosperity. Madam President, on our third point, we welcome steps to move towards peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We agree that international investment and engagement offer a way out of the cycle of decay and violence. Access to strategic minerals, Sierra Leone in the 1990s and Sudan today, has for too long been a source of conflict rather than prosperity. Africa, and I must include Nigeria, has in abundance the critical minerals that will derive and drive the technologies of the future. Investments in exploration, development and processing of these minerals in Africa will diversify supply to the international market, reduce tensions between major economies, and help shape the architecture for peace and prosperity on a continent that too often in the past has been left behind by the rivalries and competition between different power blocs. We know in Nigeria that we are more stable when those communities that have access to key resources are able to benefit from these resources. This has been our journey in the oil-producing region of the Niger Delta. I believe that will strengthen the international order when those countries that produce strategic minerals benefit fairly from those minerals in terms of investment, partnership, local processing, and jobs. When we export raw materials, as we have been doing, tension, inequality, and instability fester. Madam President, the fourth pillar for change that I am advocating is a dedicated initiative, bringing together researchers, private sector, government and communities to close the digital divide. As we stand on the threshold of new and dramatic technological change, we are still absorbing the impact of the revolution on information and communication of the past 20 years. We understand better than we did the opportunities technology offers, as well as the safeguards we need to enable growth and mitigate the potential for corruption. Some worry about fake news. Truly, we have plenty of that, with the potential of devastating real-world consequences.
Wow. Blatant liar.
About an emerging generation that
Wow.
was ever more cynical because it believes nothing and trustless. As technology shakes up public administration, law, finance, conflict, and so much of the human condition, I'm calling for a new dialogue to ensure we promote the best of the opportunities that are arising and promote the level of access that allows emerging economies more quickly to close a wealth and knowledge gap that is in no one's interest. I join you today to reassert Nigeria's commitment to peace, to development, to unity, to multilateralism, and to the defense of human rights beyond compromise.
Oh my God, don't say that.
None of us is safe until all of us are safe. The road ahead,
Like you made Nigeria unsafe.
and we know there are no quick fixes to the trials that test the human spirit. Yet history reminds us that bold action in pursuit of noble ideals has always defined the story of the United Nations. Time and again, we have found the wisdom to balance sovereign rights with collective responsibility. That balance is once again in question. But I believe, quite passionately, that a renewed commitment to multilateralism, not as a slogan, but as an article of faith, remains our surest path forward. Nigeria dedicates itself fully and without reservation to that noble cause. I thank you all for listening.
All right. That is the terrorist vice president of Nigeria. Great speech he made. Great speech that they wrote for him to deliver at the United Nations General Assembly. The same platform. Years. In 1963, Emperor Haile Selassie delivered the greatest speech that has never been rivaled since then, and from which Robert Nesta Marley, aka Bob Marley, created a song called War that has become a generational global anthem. Until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. Well, everywhere is war. Me say war. And until there's no longer first class and second class citizens of any nation, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes, I beg to say war. And until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regards to race, me say war. Well, until that day, the dream of lasting peace, world citizenship, and the rule of international morality will remain but a fleeting illusion to be pursued, hey, but never attained. Well, everywhere is war. Me say war. War in the east, war in the west, war up north, war down south, war, rumors of a war, until that day, the African continent will not know peace. We Africans will fight it if we find it necessary. Tell you what, we know we shall win. We are confident in the victory of good over evil, of good over evil. Well, everywhere is war. Yes. Now, look at the United Nations today. What does the United Nations stand for? The founding objective has been defeated. Yes, the founding objective that was well articulated in 1945, when it was formed as the League of Nations. League of Nations. Yes, championed by the United States of America. That lofty objective has been defeated. Yes. So on the same podium where Emperor Haile Selassie stood to make this speech, the greatest speech ever recorded by any head of state at the General Assembly of the United Nations. On that same podium, this bloody liar terrorist, the founder of Boko Haram, came to deliver a beautiful nonsense of a speech from Nigeria with the audacity to demand for a permanent Security Council seat for a Nigeria that he has been a part of destroying. Nigeria is no longer a country, but it can be made a country by the concerted effort of the people of Nigeria, not relying on the United Nations. The United Nations is a total failure. And I'm happy that somebody had the audacity, President Donald Trump had the audacity to tell the United Nations how terrible it is. And then some sane Africans came there too with a demand that the United Nations needed to be democratized. How can we have a United Nations that has 5 permanent security seats belonging to 5 countries? Only 5 countries on earth: the United States, Britain, France, China, and Russia. So they decide what is best for the world. Africa has the largest bloc of 55 countries that comes to the United Nations every year, every September, to cry for help. And so much will be said, and nothing is being done, like Bob Marley said. Yes, so much is said, but nothing is being done. Look at the whole of Africa. Africa, with a population of 1.5 billion people, the Africa that has over 45% of the Earth's resources. What do the people have to show for their membership of the United Nations? Squalor, poverty, disease, ignorance, war, strifes, disagreement, terrorism, bigotry, all kinds of craziness. Yes. And over 90% of the population of Africa as it stands today are made of young people, growing young people. They are born into hell. They are born into slavery. What has changed since the past 80 years? Nothing. Nothing. Where is the African country that is doing so well economically? Nothing. Where is the African country that has a great healthcare delivery system? None. Where is the African country that has this great educational system? None. Where is the African country that has this great infrastructure? Every time since I was born, 63 years ago, we'll be hearing foreign companies coming to construct roads in Africa. Yes, everything we do, even to the toothpick that we use, are imported. Yeah, they made us these people, these Vasa, who cannot do anything for themselves. And they come from what they take from us. They say they are giving us aid. They create diseases and they rush to Africa's aid. Africa needs a new direction. And that direction will not be found in the United Nations. If you ask me, I will tell the African people, what are you doing there? Pull out and go and build African Union instead of this waste of time building the United Nations. United Nations was not built for the good of Africa. It was built to continue to suppress, repress, and exploit Africa. So what are we doing there? We have no business being there. We are not represented. We don't have a voice. 5 people who speak for us, and then they don't know our pains. They don't understand who we are. Yes, they understand about who we are is that we are these poor people that need help, always needy, crying. Yeah, because of the type of tragedy of leadership that they have installed in Africa, following when their industrial revolution became a global emergency. Yes, that needed African raw material. Yes, and African cheap labor. The same people who put us through 700 and 400 years of slavery, respectively, will never be the advocate of a free and prosperous Africa. It's impossible. For them, it's a generational legacy that they must continue to build on. That is why we are where we are. That is why we are stuck. That is why we have terrible people like Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria. That is why we have horrible terrorists like this one that just delivered this speech. Yes, that compromised our country's national security. I'm talking about Kashim Shettima, in whose house those who bombed the United Nations building in 2011, in whose house they were arrested. This man, terrorist. So the United Nations allowed him to step in on their podium to deliver a speech to the people of the world. Then that United Nation is not united for us. They are not for us. We need to chart a new course. Now, coming back to the issue that brought us here, the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, and the compromise of all of the country's security forces. It didn't start today. It started in 1966. It has been a generational thing. There's a script written to take over Nigeria, destroy all of its strategic institutions. Yes, it's an offshoot. What is taking place is an offshoot. The destruction of the security forces in Nigeria started in 1804. The same people, the children, the descendants of those who created a jihad in 1804 are responsible for what is taking place in Nigeria. And the people of Nigeria went to sleep. I don't know how they allowed a few elites from a small minority group, not up to 10 million, of Nigeria's 250 million people, as opposed to what he reported about 230. No, because Nigeria cannot count. We have not successfully made any headway counting ourselves. That is another problem. That is why we cannot control crimes. Borders are so porous, especially in the north. Mercenaries come into there. All the arms that were used in Libya, they ended up in Nigeria. And these people permitted it. Boko Haram was the handwork of this man, this idiot, bloody fool, who came to deliver this great speech, beautiful nonsense at the United Nations. I'm talking about Kashim Shettima. Responsible. He's responsible. They are responsible for what has taken place in Nigeria. So they compromise the Nigerian security forces. The command and control infrastructure are in the hands of those with ties to Boko Haram, in the hands of those with ties to the Fulani madness going on in Nigeria. Yes, Fulani terrorism, all right? They call it banditry. They give it a beautiful name. Yes, beautiful name. All right, so Nigerians will go to sleep hoping that it will go away. It's not going away. It is a mission, and the mission is expansive. Nigeria is so strategic to the mission. Taking over Nigeria is so strategic to the mission. And the mission is to take over the whole of the West African sub-region. That is why you are seeing trouble in Sudan. That is why you are seeing the trouble in Mali. That is why you are seeing the trouble in Niger. That is why you're seeing terrorism in Burkina Faso. Yes, and it's spreading. So in this, we need action. So Nigeria does not have an armed forces. If you are from somewhere else, inside the Nigerian armed forces, you will understand what I'm talking about. The armed forces of Nigeria is a Fulani armed forces. Sadly, that is exactly what it is. People, military officers from the Nigerian army from somewhere else, they only open their mouth when they retire. They'll be writing books about what is taking place in the armed forces. But while they are there, they are gagged. They can't do anything. But I'm here to tell you that Nigeria has no army. The best Nigeria has is an army that will go and kill innocent and defenseless Igbos. They will kill innocent and defenseless Niger Deltans. They will go to the middle belt and kill people. But they don't touch. They kill Hausa people now. Because prior to this time, many Nigerians did not know what was taking place. Contrary to the widely held view that the Hausas control the army, I can tell you that there are not as many Hausas in control of anything in the Nigerian armed forces. The Hausas have been repressed. You see, if you understand the concept of French colonialism in Africa's East African colonies, when they made them believe that they were one, that was what happened to the Hausa people. And these people went a notch further, hijacked the Hausa language. They speak it so well, and then overshadow the Hausa people. When they speak, the Nigerian people will think they are the Hausas speaking for the Hausa. They come in the name of the North. They don't believe in the North. They don't believe in Nigeria. They don't care about Nigeria. They are not Nigerians. They have no interest in Nigeria. Their interest is to build their country called Sokoto Caliphate. That is exactly what is taking place. A lot of Nigerians don't know what is taking place in Nigeria. These are the people who are responsible for removing the study of history from Nigeria's academic curriculum. We have to bring this truth to our people. And that is why young people in Nigeria are either corrupt, ambivalent, and irresponsible. They don't know who they are. They are bastardized. And these people instill fear in us that Nigerians can't stand up. Nigerians can't unite to get anything done. These people, they now know their time is up. They now know from the rebellion from the Hausa people. The Hausa people, for the first time, are coming out now to speak up. After 221 years of being subjugated generationally, 11 generations of Hausa people have gone through subjugation. They overshadow them. They tell them that they are brothers and sisters in Islam. But they torment them. They kill them. They roast them. They eat their meat now. An Hausa young woman, an activist, is now in hiding because they pronounced fatwa on her. She's hiding somewhere in Nigeria. But she cannot be silenced. She sent me gory pictures of what a Fulani cleric, an rogue Islamic cleric, told the Fulanis who are behind the mayhem in Nigeria that when they kill Hausa people, they should eat them. And they are doing that. They kill, roast, and eat them, human beings. And this idiot came to the United Nations to talk about peace in Nigeria, to talk about the efforts they are making to combat terrorism in Nigeria, where in fact Bola Ahmed Tinubu eats and dines with terrorists. Yes, he is one of them, one of the masterminds. Do you know that of all the mayhems that are being committed in Nigeria, no one person has been apprehended, no one person has been sent to jail? I am telling you, hundreds of thousands of Nigerians have been murdered by this murderous, evil, Fulani-driven ideologues, criminals, rogues, killing Nigerians. Nobody. Yes, Oliver Dora, sorry for Nigeria. Yeah, Nigeria is a sorry country right now. So sorry. And sadly, our people have become so docile, so afraid of uniting. These people came. Buhari was the one who actually finished off Nigeria. He recruited terrorists into the Nigerian armed forces. He brought them and gave them command and infrastructural control of the Nigerian armed forces. So that's why the army, the armed forces is not cohesive. Nobody can be trusted. A GOC was exposed as conniving with Boko Haram. The army authority has still not been able to find him, to get him to face trial, to investigate him. Major General Umar Abubakar, yes, he's still a GOC, commanding a detachment of the Nigerian armed forces. The young man who exposed him is now on the run. They are looking for him to kill him, to silence him, because he spoke the truth. But I don't think that guy is in Nigeria anymore. He's speaking a lot. Yes, he's speaking a lot. Yes. Durham Butler, thank you very much. He said Nigeria isn't in the news in the US. Yes, absolutely. Nigeria will not be in the news in the US because Nigerians are in the hands of terrible people who cannot articulate the problems of Nigeria. And that is why we came up as an alternative to the mainstream media in Nigeria, hoping that people will hear us and take our message to those who will listen, and listen to us and call us to talk to us about what is taking place in Nigeria. Well, we are making a lot of headway. We are working so hard on it. Yes, thank you very much, Doran. I appreciate you for your contribution. Yes, and yes, thank you. Adi Soka Victor, say thank to God. All right, thank you to God, and I hope it's in favor of what we are talking about. Yes, up me, my brother, One Africa. Shedrack, thank you very much for joining us. Yes, this is the sad story of Africa. Yes, and somebody is asking Sona Saluma, why don't y'all study African American history before you come to America with that colonizing mindset? Well, I don't know what you are talking about. So if you can speak more about that, you talk about that. I don't know. Nobody colonizes. African Americans are our brothers. So those ones who are liberated, they know what happened, and they know, and we are working with them to bridge the gap. So if you are one of those who are anti-African, very sooner than later you will find out how African you are. All right? So you can be in denial for all you want. That's up to you. All right. Thank you very much, Shedrag, again. And Michael, yes. I don't know who is speaking, but I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Michael, You know, I believe you know, if you knew what you were talking about, create your own story so that we will compare it. You don't know what you are talking about because you are one of those ignorant, poor young Nigerians who don't know the history of Nigeria. All right? 1,000 naira will make you go crazy for your oppressor. So I am not surprised that you are the way you are. All right? Oliver, thank you very much. And so, I would have kicked you out of here, but I want to make you learn something. I know the history of Nigeria because I lived it. All right? So I lived it. Okay? And my name is Madu Ajaja. I am the convener of Open Nigeria. How old are you? If you knew Nigeria, you won't be talking this nonsense here. All right? But I will ignore you for now. Otherwise, you'll be kicked out and never return to this channel to express your ignorant opinion. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Oliver, yeah. What you do, subscribe. When you subscribe, you can email me. Let me read out my email. It's there. I wrote out our email, our contact information, including if you want to make a call. Call me so we can talk some more. So if you go to the top, the very top, it says I put a lot of messages, information about how to contact us. Do that, but don't fail to subscribe to our channel. All right? And we look forward to seeing you soon. Much, much, much love. I love you guys, and I love all of you who joined this stream. And if you did not have the opportunity yet to subscribe, please do that now before we close the stream. And always come back, and we appreciate our returning subscribers for the great things that they do. Yeah, our subscribers and our members and those who help us share our messages so to reach more Nigerians, more Africans, more Americans, more of the people of the world. We love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you in our next stream. If you love what we are doing, and you truly love what we are doing from your heart, yeah, you can support us by buying our super tanks and super chat, and donate whatever you want to donate to help us expand our cause. God bless you guys. Thank you very much. Yes, to them always out there, brother. Thank you. Yes, we don't have time for puppets. Yes, puppets are the reason Africa is the way it is right now. So the Nigerian army, I'm going to tell you now, the Nigerian armed forces is not for Nigerian people. It's the armed forces of the oppressors, the armed forces of terrorists and bandits. And I call the United States. When you deal with Nigeria with a lot of care. Do not sell them arms and ammunition anymore. Everything you sell them end up in the hands of terrorists. Yes, everything you sell them to Nigeria ends up in the hands of terrorists, those killing Nigeria. Don't sell Nigerian arms under this administration. It's a rogue administration. Yes, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was prosecuted here for commercial drug sales. He's a drug dealer who has destroyed American lives. He has no right to stand on the podium. That was why he couldn't come to the United Nations, because he knew that Nigerians were going to come there to besiege him. But how they allowed a terrorist to stand on the podium to advance a cause for nonsense, that makes me cringe. But that is what it is. We have a right to self-defense. We have a right to tell the true story of Nigeria. Bye for now. I love you guys.